And welcome everyone to Beyond the Forecast, and happy 4th of July. It is America's birthday. 249 years old, looking good. Now today, yes, it is still Beyond the Forecast, and we are going to be bringing you a lot of cool things for today's special episode of Beyond the Forecast for 4th of July. So I'm going to start it off with throwing it back to a fun thing that you can do for 4th of July that is pretty safe. It is creating baking soda and vinegar bottle rockets. How you do that and what you can teach your kids with this fun STEAM STEM project. And it's quick and easy. So if you have some downtime today or this weekend, baking soda vinegar bottle rockets. We'll show you how to do that and what happens. Super fun there. And then meteorologist John Gross is going to take you into currents and what to look out for currents if you're heading out swimming in the big lakes. And then meteorologist Haley Fischetti will sit down with DNR fire management specialist Jeff Corser to talk about firework safety. So a jam-packed show for your 4th of July, but before we get into that, let's get into some fun things. Now, this day in weather history, yes, it is July 4th, so let's go back to July 4th, 1776, shall we? Thomas Jefferson had a very busy day. Not only did he sign the Declaration of Independence, but he also bought his very first thermometer, according to his weather memorandum book. So the man went out, bought a thermometer after or before the Declaration of Independence. I'm guessing before, but according to him, on July 4th at 1776, after he bought his first thermometer at 2 p.m., it was 76 degrees and cloudy. So there you go, this day in weather history. When the country was born, it was 76 degrees and cloudy. I'm guessing in Philadelphia. Somewhere over there. Pretty cool though. All right. Trivia time. Yesterday, we wanted to know, what is the fastest speed a raindrop can fall? Is it 10, 23, 50, or 15 miles per hour? Now, for the most part, it is right around 23 miles per hour, but it's anywhere in between 15 and 23. So if you said 15 or 23, hats off to you, but it should be right around 23. 20 to 23 is usually the fastest a raindrop can fall. All right, today, trivia question, we want to know, what does the Saffir-Simpson scale measure? Is it snow melt, sun ray power, hurricane sustained winds, or darkness? QR code right there. Hit it with your phone. It'll take you to where to your answer, and don't worry, we will have the answer for you come Monday for Beyond the Forecast. So you have all weekend to figure that one out. All right, weather word of the day. Today is Virga. If you probably heard us say that a few times, but Virga is precipitation that is falling from the clouds but doesn't reach the surface. So if you've ever seen a storm or a rain cloud and you see the streaks of rain, but you can see that it stops before it gets to the surface, that is Virga. And it's usually because of dry air in the middle. So in between the surface and those rain clouds, there's dry air, and that precipitation is hitting that dry air, and it is evaporating the rain showers before they get to the surface. So today's weather word of the day is Virga. There you go. All right, weather photo of the day, as always, brought to you by Great Rooms. Today's picture comes to us from Live Fellows, a friendly turtle spotted in Lake Ann. Look at this beautiful painter turtle. Remember, it's that time of year. Help our turtle friends out. If you see them in the road, get them to the other side. Make sure they are safe. We don't need to be running over our friendly turtles. Thank you, Liv, for sending in this amazing picture. And as always, thank you to Great Rooms for sending in, or for sponsoring, excuse me, weather photo of the day. All right, so right here, we are going to take you into our very fun 4th of July bottle rocket baking soda and vinegar STEAM STEM experiment for you. We're not going to break. We're going to send you to that, and then we'll come back. Check it out.
We'll start off with kind of the basics. You'll need some baking soda, of course, and I brought that from home. You're gonna need a little bit of paper towel, and we'll explain why in a little bit. You're gonna need some corks to go into where the cap is on your pop bottle. You're gonna need some tape, just some regular old tape will work fine. And then you're also gonna need some vinegar. And then you're also, of course, going to need a bottle. So for the first one, I have a little 20-ounce pop bottle, and I have put some legs on it. So you'll need some sticks. I have used the plastic cutlery for my legs because you can either set it in the ground or you can have it like this. So once the pressure takes off. So you need something for it to stand so it can take off. And you can either use sticks or you can use something that will get it below the cap so it can stand. But we are going to run you through the steps of how to make a baking soda vinegar rocket. And it's super fun. So get your parents involved because you definitely don't want any accidents. Make sure you have safety goggles because this one's a little bit on timing, and we'll explain why. We're not making a super in-depth rocket, but we are making a rocket that is going to be based off of pressure generated by the mixture of baking soda and vinegar. And you have to time it just right. There has to be a slow release, otherwise it'll take off before you can enjoy it. And we'll explain that in a little bit too. But let's get making our rockets, shall we? So first up, what you're gonna wanna do is to make your rocket, you're gonna want an empty pop bottle. And you know how a pop bottle usually sits like this? Well, you gotta turn it upside down because the pressure is gonna be released from where the cap is. So what you're gonna wanna do is have your pop bottle upside down, and you're gonna want your feet so it can sit on the ground with the cap area raised. So take your tape and take your sticks, or in my case, plastic knives, and tape that to your bottle. And it doesn't matter where you tape it, but make sure it's kind of like a triangle. So you have 3 sides so it can sit on the ground nice, just like that. So go ahead, tape your sticks on your pop bottle. And now you have a rocket ship. But now we need to start thinking about the fuel for your rocket ship. So first up, you're going to need vinegar. And you can dump your vinegar in prior to your legs, or you can do it after, either or. If you have a big jug like I do, a funnel's probably best, but we can get it in there. That'll be all right. So what you want to do is go with probably 1/4 of the bottle of vinegar. And then we'll put the cap back on for now. So vinegar done. Now we're gonna have to find a way to slow release our baking soda, because if you just put baking soda in there, you're not gonna have time to put the cork back in and run away. Baking soda and vinegar create carbon dioxide, and that pressure generates very quickly. So what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to get some paper towel. And what you'll do is take 1 sheet of paper towel. Probably don't even need that. In fact, half of 1 sheet will probably be just fine. So what you want to do here is you want your sheet to look like this, and then pour some baking soda into the sheet, kind of on a line. So you roll it up so it looks like a burrito, and then we'll tape it. So that way you can put it down this way first and no baking soda comes out. But when you flip it upside down, the baking soda will start coming out. So voila, like that. Now you also want to make sure that it will fit in the hole of the pop bottle that you're using. There we go. And in fact, I think we'll tear off the top little bit that has nothing in it. That way, a little more ease of access. There we go. So that is ready. Now, you also want to find a cork that will fit in your preferred bottle. I also have a 2-liter over there that will do next. But you want to make sure whichever cork you're using fits snug. So that way, it takes a good amount of pressure to get rid of the cork and send it flying. This cork just doesn't fit quite right. There's not enough pressure there. So we want to use this cork. That's good pressure right there. All right. So let's get our legs back on it and straight. And this is the exciting part. All right, be ready. This one might go quick. Don't know if we got it on the other camera. Whoa!
So there you go. Fun experiment to always do with the kids. If you have time this weekend, try it out. It's a lot of fun, quick and easy, and very safe. All right, coming up next, meteorologist John Gross is going to take you into currents. Safe, non-safe currents, what you need to know if you plan on heading out to the lake. We'll have those details for you right after the break.
Hey there, everybody. Meteorologist John Gross. Welcome back to Beyond the Forecast. Now that we are getting well into the summer months here, especially into northern Michigan, we're talking about warmer temperatures, if not even hot temperatures, depending on your preference. And when this was recorded, getting close to the 4th of July. So it's a good time to head off to the beach, head off to the lake, enjoy some time, especially at the Great Lakes that we have here in Michigan. But when you're talking about the water, and we've talked about topics in the water over these past several days. We've talked about wave period, we've talked about currents, we've talked about the swim risk, and now we're talking about more currents and how those can be very, very dangerous if you were caught in one of those. But in order to talk about currents, well, we got to know what a current is. So a current is just how the water is moving. It's currently going at a certain clip. It's moving at a certain speed. It's going at a certain angle. And one of the main contributing factors or influences that a current has is how the waves are moving on shore. How tall are those waves? How many waves are we seeing? Hence the wave period we were talking about the past few days. So the larger the wave, the more likely that you are to have a current. The shorter the wave, less likely you are to have a current. Now, there's still going to be currents no matter what you do or where you're at, but depending on how strong or weak that current is, can make a big difference. So what direction are the waves moving on shore? That is going to really help to determine the type of current that you do see. One that you're probably a little bit more familiarized with, you've heard it, the term time and time again, it's what we call a rip current. Now, those are more likely when waves are perpendicular to the shore. Remember, that's a 90-degree angle to the shoreline. When you're talking about longshore structural currents, those are more likely when your waves are moving onshore at an angle, closer to maybe a pier, maybe a break wall, things of that nature, when you're right near the immediate lakeshore. So those are the main two when you're talking about the current. And when we're talking again about the swim risk and the surf zone forecast, that all gets compiled into what we think is going to happen out on the water, depending on where you're at along the lakeshore, what county you're in, things of that nature. So if you're ever caught in one of these currents, including a rip current, here's a few things that you should do. And this is the first major one, and it's probably the hardest thing not to do, especially if you're not an experienced swimmer, if this is your first time getting caught in a situation like this. Try not to panic. And the things that you want to do is keep calm, flip on your back. These are going to be the three big F's that we're talking about. Flip on your back and float to keep, at minimum, your head above water so you can continue breathing. That's going to be the main focus. Keeping calm, making sure that you're in control of your body, flipping on your back, and having a way to continue getting air throughout your body. And then the main thing after that, once you've figured out and assessed the situation, is follow that current until either help arrives in the form of a lifeguard or EMS, whatever it might be, or swim perpendicular to the flow so you can escape that current. So especially for rip currents, since those are much more common, or at least we've heard of those more often, remember the rip current wants to take you out to water. It wants to take you away from the lake shore. So you want to swim perpendicular to the lake shore to try and get out of that current. So same deal. Again, flip on your back, try not to panic, make sure that you have a way that you're still receiving oxygen, and then try and follow the flow of the current either until help arrives or try and swim perpendicular to that current so you can get out of it and then swim back to shore so you can be safe. So that's the main message when we're talking about dangerous currents. And like always, before you ever head off to the beach, head off to the lake, I do it myself. The surf zone forecast, those are issued by the National Weather Service. Great tool to look up and see what the forecast is going to be like, not only in the air, but out on the water, because water temperatures too, depending on what time of year it is, those can be a little bit colder. So you want to make sure you're getting all that great information so you can have a great lake or beach day here, especially in northern Michigan. I'm meteorologist John Gross reporting for Beyond the Forecast.
Thanks, John. Now, coming up next, meteorologist Haley Fischetti is going to be sitting down with DNR Fire Management Specialist Jeff Corser to talk about fireworks safety. We'll have that coming up right after the break.
Welcome back to Beyond the Forecast. I am joined with Jeff Corser, who is a fire specialist over at the DNR. I appreciate you so much for joining me today, Jeff. Fireworks, 4th of July, a lot of people as a meteorologist asking me about the weather, but there's so much to go into fire shows. So I'm so happy that you joined me today to talk about fireworks safety.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to that, we talked to you guys a couple months ago about fire safety in general when it comes to just everyday burning. Now, when it comes to fireworks, what should people really know about the dangers of fire and fireworks?
Well, for one, we are still dry out. We still have some areas of drought. So the grasses, the understories are a little drier than normal. So just being cognizant of where you're firing off your fireworks, what areas you're firing from, real important. The drier grass is not firing, from within the dry gases, having the water available and wetting down areas you're kind of firing from, and just trying to keep things out of the drier fuels, which are the grasses and some of the pine understory at this point.
Okay, now when it comes to, say, summer months, we get a little bit more rain. What are the best conditions for lighting fireworks? If you were going to, I guess.
I mean, if we could get a real nice rain,
Okay.
it'd be beautiful. It doesn't look like it's happening, but I mean, people can still take precautions by wetting down the areas they're launching from and really paying attention to their spent fireworks, making sure they're drowned and out before you just walk away for the evening.
Yeah, that brings me to my next question of that is some people think that just lighting off fireworks bring the danger to fires across your yards or your land that you're on. But it's actually, I feel like sometimes after the fact, people have a party, they do their fireworks show, and then they leave. What are some of the things that people can do cleaning up after, say, their fireworks show?
Some of them bigger fireworks, I mean, they stay hot. The ones that, fire a few at a time. Just when you're done, soak them in water, put them in a 5-gallon bucket, get a hose out there and soak them down for the evening. Where you have been lighting, and if you've lit off quite a few, just make sure that area is actually wet and drowned before you walk out of there.
We met with a DNR officer a couple months ago, and they would say wet and muddy is the best thing to have before you leave for anything. So it kind of seems like that's the best tip too for fireworks as well.
Correct. Just like drowning a campfire, if you can't touch it, it's not out.
Okay, awesome. Now, what are some tips that you have to have a 4th of July or just the summer months having for fireworks? What are some of your best safety tips that you have over the years?
Kind of goes down the same thing. Just kind of pay attention to what's around you. If it's been a series of 3, 4, 5 days without rain, just be real careful where you're lighting fireworks. I know these are lit year round, all year, so it's just sometimes we get a little bit of rain. It's just not quite enough. So just make sure you're not in the dry areas when you're lighting these things off.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time today. Talk about fireworks and so everyone can have a fun, but a really safe 4th of July. I appreciate it, Jeff.
Yeah, no problem. Hope everybody does have fun. Just be safe.
And that does it for our 4th of July Beyond the Forecast episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. We do truly appreciate it. You guys are the best. Have a wonderful and safe holiday weekend. We'll see you back here Monday, 4:30. Bye, everybody.